Who's going to hop in? Another live stream, not brought to you by Waterloo Sparkling Water, but I wish it was. I think we can angle this down a little bit. More professional streamer would have had that set up already. If no one hops in, I'm going to start chatting about a topic that's been on my mind. That way, for you guys who check this out later, you don't see me just sitting here, but give me a second, y'all. I'm going to drop a link to this in my Discord server so these guys know what's happening. Oh, looks like we got 4 people in here. Chat, drop a comment. Oh, shit. You know what? I got to pop out the chat. Hold up. Oh, someone already posted in the Discord. Thank you, Dick McCoy. All right, let me hop in the chat so that someone could tell me if my sound is okay. Make sure you guys are hearing me good. Pop chat. There we go. All right, Richard. Hey, holler. Okay, Keith says it sounds good. Cool, cool, good. I feel like I'm sitting. There we go. I feel like I was like all the way to the left. So what I want to talk about before the questions start rolling in is I want to talk about dealer demos. There's a lot of stuff I've noticed in my Discord server. A lot of people are having similar experiences, and there's an easy way to overcome this, and I just want to talk about it. And the issue I'm talking about in the dealer demo is specifically with subwoofers. I like to call it the rel problem because it's most common with rel subwoofers. It's super common. Someone in my Discord will go to a dealer, they'll demo a rel subwoofer, maybe a T9X, maybe an S510, maybe a Carbon Special, and they'll come back to the Discord after the demo and they'll usually say something like this, like, man, the dealer like had the sub turned down so much I couldn't hear it. Or yeah, they just didn't really like play any music that took advantage of bass. Or, you know, I checked the back of the subwoofer settings and the damn thing was barely on. Or like the frequency was turned up like all the way and it didn't sound right. And I get that. You guys got to remember, a lot of these dealers come from an era, especially the older guys, where they didn't use a subwoofer. Subwoofers were considered a home theater item. So these guys have been running their systems without subwoofers for years. Their personal taste may err on the side of lighter bass. Tell your dealer. If you don't think it's set up right, guys, tell them. You could do that. You could tell them, hey, brother, seems like you got this thing set up to be really, you know, tonally accurate, but I came here to hear the subwoofer. Do you mind turning it up a couple of clicks? I like my bass a little juiced up, and I want to make sure this thing can hang and pound the way I'm going to use it in my room. Or better yet, ask if you could play a couple of your own songs that you're very familiar with. These dealers sometimes take the whole concept of a subwoofer should integrate so well you shouldn't hear it. They take that concept a little too far when they're doing a demo. I think that's the wrong way to do a demo. I think if you're demoing a subwoofer, it should be set up to run a little hot so that the customer can hear it. You know, otherwise, okay, like they're hearing perfect integration and that's nice. And maybe, you know, you could start that way, but guys, tell the dealer you want it louder. Tell the dealer you want to play your own music. You're the customer, remember. You can make those requests because it bums me out when I see people come back from a dealer demo and they feel like they didn't get to really hear the subwoofer. And part of that's the dealer's fault, absolutely. But part of it is you didn't speak up. So guys, speak up. Your time is just as valuable as theirs. All right, that was just a little rant I wanted to get off my chest. Let's check the comments, see what's cooking. Richard says, what's up? What's up, Richard? Always hyped to see you in here. Pete from across the street, such a great screen name. Screen name says, okay, talking about the levels. Keith says the levels sound good. Richard says, talk a little more so I can check the levels. I just got through the rant, so I hope that was good. Juan Madrigal, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in one of my comments in a while. Greetings from Southwest Florida. What's cooking? Florida's a humid state, y'all. I went to Florida a few years ago, and I had heard people say how humid Florida was. I have never in my life sweat through a pair of pants. I'm talking like the thigh region, like mid-thigh. I've never had that area of my body sweat. I didn't know that area of my body would sweat like that. Literally sweat through a pair of pants. Couldn't believe it. This was in the summertime too. GMV says, hi, what's up, GMV? Richard says, yup, levels are good, cool. Choke Change says, your opinion of Hoffman's iron law. Was that thing with volume? Let me look it up real quick. Come on, what's going on here with this? All right. Let me do a half screen on the chat, and I'm going to bring up a second window. Let me look up. You guys know I'm not a super like measurements person. I don't get into audio theory a whole lot. So let me look up Hoffman's iron. What did you write? Hoffman's iron law. If I remember correctly, it had something to do with volume. Something about louder sounds better, and you lose dynamics and such at lower volumes. It's too long. It's not something I can really read up on and answer. Can you maybe, Choke, can you maybe rephrase the question? And because it looks like Hoffman's iron law's got a lot to it. Maybe rephrase the question to what the statement is in a nutshell and my opinion on it, and I'll be happy to chime in on that, brother. Danilin says the bookshelf 1528 have more extension than the S510. No, he's asking if the Arundel 1528 bookshelf extend lower than a REL S510 subwoofer. No, absolutely not. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, a speaker's a speaker, you know what I mean? It's pretty rare that a speaker is going to extend lower than a subwoofer. The Arundel 1528, they extend plenty low, don't get me wrong. But it was more like what I said in my review. It sounds like a pair of smaller bookshelves with a REL T5X connected, for example. And that's a pretty capable subwoofer for how small it is. I think some of you guys may make the mistake of assuming that driver size tells the whole story. Just because a speaker has a, say 10-inch driver, something like the Zoo DWX, that doesn't mean that it's going to have bass like a 10-inch subwoofer, something like a REL T9X, for example. Oh no, not at all. A mid-woofer that a speaker generally uses is a very different type of driver than the subwoofer driver that these manufacturers that build and design subwoofers are using. It's quite a compliment to say that the Arundel Bookshelf 8-inch drivers sound like an 8-inch subwoofer, because most speakers with 8-inch drivers do not sound like an 8-inch subwoofer. For example, the Monitor Audio Bronze 100 has an 8-inch woofer. It does not sound like an 8-inch subwoofer is connected. No, it doesn't. Danilin also says, nice Discord. Nemo is very fun in there. Thank you, bro. Glad you enjoy it. It's very fun being part of that Discord. Yeah, well, we have fun in there, Get a little obsessive sometimes and stuff, but I mean, that's the hobby. Juan Madrigal says, currently steaks outside, 55-ish temps. Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, that's cold. I live in Southern California. You live in Southern Florida. Like, we're both used to hot climates. I definitely consider 55 degrees to be cold. Like, I usually don't go outside 55 and below. Siphonic says, good evening. What's up, my man? Richard says, don't make me hungry for steaks, Juan. Yeah, I hear that. So Danilin says, Hoffman's iron law is a principle in speaker design that states that speaker designers can only choose 2 out of 3 parameters when designing a speaker. Low bass production, how deep the speaker can produce low frequency sound, small enclosure, and high output sensitivity. Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true. There's no such thing as a small speaker that's a bass monster and has high sensitivity. That's absolutely true. Yeah. This is no different in other hobbies. Like those of you that are into cars, like I know Richard McCoy's into cars, so I know you've heard this one before. We have our own iron law in the car community. A car cannot be cheap, reliable, and fast. You get two of the three. You get two of the three. Cheap, reliable, fast. You choose. If it's cheap and reliable, it's not fast. If it's fast and reliable, it's not cheap, right? A lot of hobbies have that triangle type law where you can only pick 2 out of 3. That's absolutely true. It's especially true with subwoofers even. Like and this is something I wish more people understood because it's not uncommon. I'll get a question, someone asking about a really small subwoofer and a really big subwoofer in a comparison. And I'm like, dude, you can't have a subwoofer that's reasonably priced, plays loud and extends low, right? And is small. If you got a small subwoofer that can get really loud and low, it's not cheap. If the subwoofer's cheap and really small, it's not going to get really loud and really low. If the subwoofer's cheap and can get really loud and low, it's not going to be small. It's going to be big, right? So yeah, those kinds of like triangle style laws, those apply to a lot of hobbies, and there's a lot of truth to those. Absolutely. Chihu Audio Man says, how's the recovery going? Recovery's good. Some of you guys might not know I had lower abdominal hernia surgery below the belt, above the jewels. Not a lot of pain. I did work out a little bit yesterday. I did like 40, 50 push-ups the day before. I did some bicep curls and some, I think they're called back extensions when you pull back on the cable machine. I did some of those, kept the weight low. I definitely could, feel the area just a little bit more today. So I don't know, I might keep that pace. I don't know. I might lighten up a little bit. The skin around the area is still really tender. And that's more annoying than it is painful, right? It still feels like it's very bruised, but all things considered, I'm comfortable reviewing products up to about 40 pounds right now. And I'll probably keep it that way for a little while just to make sure this damn thing heals real good. I swear I'm still sitting to the left a little more than usual. That's better. Thank you for asking, my man. What else we got here? Juan's telling Richard to come over. Choke change, basically trade-offs in the quest for a perfect subwoofer. Yeah, man. Denelin says, wow, that were a surprise. I think the Arundel would extend lower and easily like these real. Why? Why would you think a speaker with an 8-inch driver would get lower than a dedicated subwoofer that's larger and has 500 watts RMS going to it? Why would you think that? I'm surprised. You're surprised, honestly. Yeah, that's pretty normal. That's like being surprised the 1,000 horsepower car was faster than the 500 horsepower car. I don't know. That's pretty normal, bro. Serge says, what's up, buddy? Hope all is well. Thank you, Serge. Yep, doing pretty well, man. Doing pretty well. James, I don't know if that was an accident. It's just a period, nothing else in there. Choke Change says, love the subwoofer vids. I've watched from you. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Unfortunately, my budget has been more with Bluetooth speakers. Wish there were more awesome subs in that price, in that space too. The problem, Choke Change, with that is, and some Bluetooth speakers are great. You know what I mean? I use a lot of Bluetooth speakers when I listen to my audiobooks, but the problem is how they're connected. So some of these Bluetooth speakers, they don't have a way to connect a subwoofer to them. which is unfortunate. And I get it. They're trying to hit a price point. You know, some of these Bluetooth speakers are like $50. $100 gets you like a really good one, like a Wonder Boom 3 or something like that. But I guess I'll say this. If the Bluetooth speaker has an app, it's absolutely a missed opportunity to not include the ability to wirelessly pair a subwoofer to it. I think that's really a missed opportunity, and I'd like to see them do that. But again, they are trying to hit a price point. They're trying to make these things as cheap as possible. And if anyone's wondering, I did mention it, but the Bluetooth speaker that I've found to sound pretty good is the Wonder Boom 3. And that's no surprise. It's by Ultimate Ears. They were known for making some pretty wicked headphones back in the day. What were they called? The Triple Fi 10s. I had those for a while when I went through my headphone phase. But their stuff's balanced well, tonally speaking. A lot of these Bluetooth speakers are just like these bass monsters. Sonos makes good stuff too. I know you guys don't want to hear that. People want to believe Sonos is junk. But so the Sonos stuff actually sounds really good as long as you stay within its volume range. Danlin says, Nemo, do me a favor. Can you read my name? I read your name like 5 times, reading all your comments. Danlin. 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 That's why are you asking that? GMV, got a question on your experience on totems. I tried out some Fire V1 stand mounts at home, and it had all the things, but hated how metallic and analytical the tweeter was. Are they all like that? I've only reviewed the Totem Bison bookshelf. I haven't heard any other totems. That wasn't my experience with the Bison. I haven't heard any of their other stuff. I couldn't tell you. The totems sound, from my understanding, because I talked to Sean from Zero Fidelity about this, because it was on the forward side of neutral. It absolutely was. The treble's definitely exciting. It's pushed out into the room. It's there to get your attention without a doubt. And I called Sean from Zero Fidelity and I was like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. Is that about right for Totem? And he was like, yeah, Totem has some like energy to it. Absolutely. And I was like, okay, cool. But as far as like metallic-y, I didn't feel like it was metallic-y or had like a sheen to it. I know what you're talking about. That could be a combination of speaker and room sometimes. If the room has a lot of hard surfaces and the speaker's on the forward side of neutral, you could, get a combination of a lot of reflections. Your brain starts to get confused because there's too many echoes and it could sound a little metallic, or it could just be that Totem is not the sound for you. That's possible too. You guys got to remember, reviewers such as myself and a lot of other guys do have room treatment. I have room treatment on the first reflection points, the main wall, and the wall behind me where I sit has it had bass traps before, but it's been upgraded as of a few days ago to have GIK tri traps from floor to ceiling. So we give the speakers a pretty good chance at sounding their best. I think that's important to remember. Roy Batty, I've been doing squats 3 times a week. Good, bro. Good. That's what I'm talking about. Squats are a great exercise. Even guys, if you're not in shape and you can't do weighted squats, if you're a bigger fella, even doing body squats is a great workout. That's a great workout. Serge, when it comes to tweaks, do you get into the footers thing? There's a whole world of people with foot fetishes, but in the hi-fi hobby, that means a different thing, right? I know what you're talking about. I have a pair of Gaia 2s in for trial and Stack Audio Avis 70 on the way. Thoughts on those products? So in my Discord, footers have been talked about tremendously. I haven't tried them myself, but from the guys that have just gone down that rabbit hole, it seemed like their consensus was this. It really, really depends on the room. When it comes to a few tweaks, that was the consensus from the guys that tried them. Power conditioning and footers, the guys all agreed it depends on your home. For footers specifically, they felt if you had a floating floor, they seemed to make more of a difference. And if you had a slab foundation, footers didn't seem to make as much of a difference. Some guys even feeling footers made no difference with a slab home. So if you have a slab home and your system is on the second floor, for example, now it's floating, footers may have a difference. Now, the problem I think a lot of guys run into with these tweaks is the price. The price is pretty high for what they are. But you got to experiment. You got to experiment. To me, I look at tweaks, whether they be cables, power conditioning, or footers, as jewelry. And that's not to say they don't have an upgrade. That's not to say they don't change the sound. I'm of the belief that even the shirt you're wearing can make a difference. If I'm wearing a shirt versus a thick hoodie, I think that can impact the sound, especially those hoodies that, they got a hood, obviously, and it's like right here below your ears. That's going to dampen some stuff, right? I always suggest, though, have your own experience. Don't be afraid to try tweaks, no matter how much people scream their snake oil. I bought power cables originally just for the aesthetics of it, and it did make a difference in my system. It did. Could I point it out in a blind A/B? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, and I don't even want to get into that. I like the way they look. Psychologically, my nice looking power cables make me feel better. And if I feel better, then it's worth the money to me, right? But definitely experiment with the footers. Come to your own conclusion, brother. And I'd even go as far as to say, if you end up buying the footers simply because you like the way they look, good for you. No problem. I got no problem with that. All of this stuff is furniture when it's turned off, Danlin, well, I thought because usually I see rel extending lower versus the competition lower, and by other hand, I see Arundel spec F6 28 hertz. That's wild versus other speakers. Bro, I don't want to get into the whole spec debate. We've talked about this in other live streams and stuff like that. I don't like specs of one manufacturer being compared to specs of other manufacturers. And I don't like talking about specs in general. Most of the time, you guys know just enough to be dangerous. And you got to, specs are a lot like tire size. I understand you guys think if you buy a tire that's 275, 35, 21 from Michelin, and you buy another tire that's 275, 35, 21 from Pirelli, that you're getting the same size tire, because that's a measurement, right? 275 is the width of a tire in millimeters. 35 is the percentage, it's a ratio that determines the height, right? And then obviously the last number, 21, would be your wheel size. They're not the same. They're not the same. And it's the same with specs and hi-fi. I know this because I'm a car guy, and I like the fitment of my wheels, and my car is lowered. I like it to look a certain way. Pirelli 275 is not the same as a Michelin 275 or a Dunlop 275. Dunlop 275 is like a 305. It's a huge difference, and it's the same with specs from brand to brand. But if you are talking specs, even on paper, the Rel S510 extends 10 hertz lower, I think, than the Arundel 1528. So I continue to be a little surprised on why you think a speaker with 8-inch drivers is going to extend lower than a subwoofer with a 10-inch driver. I'm still confused on how you got to that conclusion, my bro. Chihu Audio Man, good to hear recovery is going well. Sounds like you and I had similar hernias. Oh, you had it too. Okay. That's why you're talking about doing squats. If you ever have issues with the repair, look into Should Ice Hospital. I don't know what that is. Is that a hospital? I guess it's a hospital, but no, I mean, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Again, just a little sensitivity in the region where the surgery was. And if that doesn't go away by the 60-day mark, I'll probably call the surgeon, but I think that's pretty normal. I mean, I got 4 layers of stitches. I think I'm going to feel it for 60, maybe even 90 days, but it's not that big of a deal. Again, I'm not reviewing anything over 40 pounds. Choke change. I love the JBL party boxes, and they have a bunch of bass like the Ultimates. But it's not a bass monster. Yeah, look, there's a lot of Bluetooth speakers that can bang. There's some big ones too. My buddy Brandon, he is into those, like, I think it's called Soundbox. Those like huge Bluetooth speakers. They're like this big, maybe bigger. They have wheels on them. Excuse me. Some of them weigh like 80 pounds. Hold on, guys. We need to bring up our show sponsor. I wish. They're not our show sponsor. I wish they were. Yeah, again, for anyone hopping in, Bluetooth speakers can sound just fine for what they are. I use them all the time when I'm cooking food or cleaning my room, my living room, or some other floor on my home. When I'm shaving my head, I listen to audiobooks. I'm using Bluetooth speakers, you know? And I prefer the ones that aren't bass monsters because I listen to mostly dialogue. And the ones that have too much bass, right? Like that Sony X40 or whatever, it just blows out everyone's voice. Oh, Danlin says I'm El Pepe in the Discord. Well, how am I supposed to know? Too many of you guys got different names in YouTube, and then you pick a different name in the Discord. I don't know who's who. You guys got to remember, I'm out here responding to 99% of comments. I engage with almost anyone who tries to engage with me. If your screen name is different, bro, I'm going to think you're two different people. On top of that, don't expect me to remember much about what you've said in the past, guys. I do not have a memory like that. Twisty Flores saying the Wonder Boom 3 can be had for $49 right now. Seriously? Dude, I'll buy a second one. I paid $89 for my last one. Hopefully that's not open box. I'm checking Amazon. If it is, and anyone's in the market, nah, bro. Let me see. Wonder Boom Play Portable. I'm pretty sure this is open box. Let me see. So no, that's the Wonder Boom Play. That's $54.99. Wonder Boom 3 is $79.99. Oh, its list price went up to $99. No, bro, the only time I've seen Wonder Boom 3s in the 50s, they're open box or refurbished. Let me go to their website, though. I see used ones on eBay for $54.99. I'm not seeing a new one. Drop a link in the chat, bro, if that's the case. Where'd I leave off? Danlin says, I'm not an English native speaker. I just wanted to know how you pronounce the letters. Yeah. I mean, El Pepe. That's how we'd say it. El Pepe, right? And that might just be because I'm in Southern California and I'm guessing that's Spanish. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'd for sure refer to your name as El Pepe, like the Pepe. Chihu Audio Man says, should ICE have? Oh, that's the hospital. They've specialized in hernia repair and actually repairing other hospital surgeries since like 1950. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to be in Southern California. I mean, in Orange County, we got a like Hoag hospitals. Like people fly out to this place, so I'm in pretty good hands. You know, I'm in pretty good hands. Okay, what else we got? Where'd I leave off? Streamo, what kind of stereo did you grow up with? My parents had a Magnavox system from Sears circa 1984. I had a few systems growing up. Most of them, and I'm not trying to tell you guys a sob story, but most of them was stuff I found in the trash. My family was like very low income growing up. My first CD player was something someone had thrown away. I took it out of the trash. It skipped a lot, but I was able to get it to work. I did later find a better CD player at a pawn shop for like $35, and I bought that. And then the amplifier I had was this old vintage Yamaha. No lie, a crackhead sold it to me for $35. It was probably stolen, you know, but I'm like 15 years old at this time, right? I don't have a lot of like high morality. I didn't even think about it, truth be told. Funny you mentioned Magnavox. I did also have some Magnavox speakers. I didn't really use them much, but I did have them. I don't know where they came from. I might have bought them from a garage sale. And like, yeah, I think I had a couple of like these car speakers, the swap meet special, like car speakers that were like the box with like an 8-inch driver and like little horns on the sides. And I disconnected the horns and I tried to use those as subwoofers. It was like really ghetto janky stuff. Andrew Robinson, what's up, man? Nothing works the whole body better. Oh, probably talking about squats. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's a safe movement too. That's what I really like about it. It's a really safe movement. I know a lot of guys love the deadlift. Nemo Propaganda tried deadlifting for a while as part of his fitness routine. It didn't work out too well. That is not for me. That is not for my anatomy. My body does not like that. If your anatomy likes it, by all means, do your deadlifts. But for most guys, especially if you're older or you haven't been exercising, you're getting into it now later in life, body squats are a great place to start. Absolutely. Choke Change says, you mentioned the Wonder Broom 3. Have you tried the V4? No, I only have the 3. I didn't know there was a V4. What is it? I don't want to look it up again, bro. Just tell me the difference. Is it the same size? Because I don't want the big one. I've seen they got big ones. I don't want that. Andrew Robinson says, they protect your hard floors and cut down on subs walking, but washing machine pucks do the same. Oh, you're talking about the footers? Yeah, and I've had guys talk about that too, where they're like, yeah, so these fancy footers, like they can definitely like help, but I've also found almost like free ways to accomplish a similar thing. It might not look as beautiful, but something I did when I lived in an apartment a few years ago, this was maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago now, I had an SVS PC2000, the cylinder sub, down firing 12-inch. I was on the 3rd floor and I didn't want to disturb my downstairs neighbor, so I found a local granite guy. I had him cut an 18-inch slab by 1¼ inches thick of granite to serve as a plinth. Underneath that slab, I put a few sheets of rubber and EVA foam. You couldn't really see it, right? But I made my own kind of like makeshift plinth for this subwoofer, and that's what I put the subwoofer on. And I remember a few months later, I met my downstairs neighbor for the first time, and he said, "Oh, you live above me? I thought that unit was empty. I've never heard any sound coming from there." Now, I do walk very lightly, but I was blown away. I was blown away. And aside from the granite plinth, I think I paid $50 for all the rubber sheets and such. I mean, this was a really inexpensive DIY project, and it worked really well. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Andrew. Yeah, you don't need like $500 footers to get good isolation and stuff like that, guys. But again, if you like the way they look, buy them, Danlin's looking up the price. He's like, wow, guys, for my C500 are $600. That's the rent of a house for a month. Yeah, they're expensive. Those Gaia footers are expensive. But again, some of this stuff's jewelry in a way. If you feel it's worth it, I don't want to stop anyone. Roy says, good tire analogy. Thank you. I'm glad someone got it. Most people don't realize this, but yeah, it's very true. Specs from one brand to another, they don't always translate. One brand might rate their subwoofer -2 dB. Another brand might do plus or minus 3 dB. Another brand might do -6 dB. Did you guys know -6 dB is the same as plus or minus 3 dB? Those are not the same specs. I, to this day, don't understand that, but I have confirmed this with multiple engineers. Hear me out. I'll say it again. Minus only, if it says minus only 6 dB, that is the same if it's a plus with a minus sign 3 dB. What the hell? These specs, it's like they're almost made to confuse people. Where'd I leave off? Danlin says, I agree with that. Base specs are very confusing when I listen to the S510. I just think that we're a real nice at very, I think that we're a real nice at very deep bass. Oh, Roy, you had the umbilical. So you had the one by the belly button. Mine was below the belt. I think it's like the large intestine is what they patched up. Like right side of the body, just maybe 2 inches below the belt line and just right above the jewels, Sean B says, what is Discord like, a chat room? Yeah, kinda. It's kind of like the old chat rooms back in the day, Check it out, dude. Hop in, lurk. See if you like it. See if it's for you or not. It's free. Mine's free. Some people charge for it. I don't. No hate to anyone that charges for it. Just my channel is a side project for fun and not my source of income. If it was my job, best believe I'd charge for it. Everyone's got to put food on the table somehow. I don't want to say my Discord's free and then you guys run over to someone else's Discord and you're like, this a-hole charges money. Yeah, guys, if a YouTuber is a YouTuber for a living, they got to eat. You know, they got to pay for that car, that cell phone, that camera equipment, those lights. Like, come on now. Stefan Dupree says, in your opinion, what is your direct comparison to the RSL Speedwoofer 12S? I don't know what you mean by that, bro. Like, what's another big sub like that? SVS PB2000 Pro, you know? I like both brands a lot. They're a little different. The RSL 12S, RSL's done a good job at giving their 12S a really strong leading edge. And it's fairly tight because they've got their own unique port design. So it sounds fairly tight and agile. And that's why I like it a lot. But if you want the sound of a more traditional vented subwoofer, where the attack is a little softer, a little bit more watery, you might like something like the SVS PB2000 Pro more. Yeah, I think that's what you meant by that. But yeah, I mean, that'd be something similar. There's the Rhythmic FVX 12, but that's a good bit smaller. The RSL 12S is a big daddy. That's a big 12-inch vented sub. Dan Lynn says, if someone go to listen to a ex speaker, they usually comment his experience. And oh, he's answering someone else's question. Joan Frederick, what's up, Joan? I like Kanso SYD Bluetooth speaker. I haven't heard that one. Okay, Chihu, yeah. So that's the same thing I had. Yeah, so you made it sound like you had the belly button one. You got the same one, I think. Yeah, below the belt, right? Twisty Flora, WB deal code. Oh, you got to use a code to get the Wonder Boom. Well, is that on their website? I'll check it out after the stream. I'll order one. Thank you for letting me know. Victor Ennis, I'm a big Audible book guy as well. Oh yeah. Guys, I'm deep into that. If you want to know if I have any other hobbies, oh yeah. I listen to about 20 to 25 books on Audible a year. I go hard in the paint on Audible. Love it. Mostly doing sci-fi books. The current one I'm on is going back and forth between two series. I'm finishing off The Expanse, where the TV show left off. And this other book series called Expeditionary Force. I'm on like the 19th book in this series. I never thought I would be on book 19 of a series. Sorry, let me read the rest of your comment. Been listening to books way back when they were back on cassettes. What books do you normally like to gravitate towards? Sci-fi. All sci-fi. If there's no spaceship involved, I'm usually not interested. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of good sci-fi TV shows or movies. There's a few, but not a lot. Dark Matter got canceled. Killjoys was a good sci-fi show. And I like all kinds of sci-fi. It could be like adventure sci-fi. I like military sci-fi. And then I like the wild, crazy philosophical shit, like the author Shijin Liu, Remembrance of Earth's Past, Three-Body Problem, His Wandering Earth. Short stories, insane, fantastic. I like Adrian Tchaikovsky's work a lot. He had one book where you cross-cut back and forth between a human society and a freaking spider society. I think it's called Children of Memory. Insane. Like, these spiders have evolved, right? It's like years and years into the future. These spiders have evolved. They talk to each other. They have like homes and jobs and positions, and you follow this spider around like from their perspective and get a taste of what spider society could be like. It's insane stuff. It's just awesome. Tchaikovsky is fantastic. Cixin Liu is fantastic. And I mean, I could log into my Audible. I mean, I read so many, I can't remember them all, but I've enjoyed most books I've read, but I've had a few like just crap fest ones. All right, young old dude, yo, sounds like you're recovering well. Good to hear. Also, I am really close to getting the Radiant Acoustic Clarity 6.2. I got the pleasure of spending half a day with them. Really like them. As a speaker, a lot of people start mentioning, but I never heard of it. I never seen it. Denlin says thanks. Roy Batty says that's all states stand. Ancient Alien 815. Yo, what's up, man? How did those MC40s work out for you? If those are the ones I think they are, hold on. So I did listen to them, but not for too long, bro. Just for like 10 or 15 minutes. They, even at full price, they're a lot cheaper than the Murano. We got to remember that. The Cabas Menorca MC40 full price is $12.95. Yes, they're on sale for $648 right now, but it's nowhere close to the Murano, and it can't be. The Murano sold for $4,500, almost 4 times the price, right? I didn't listen long enough to give you much of an impression, but it's quite a bit more on the forward side of neutral. It's almost like if Totem made a budget speaker like this cheap. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if the MC40 is the steal of the century the way the Murano was. I'm not sure the MC40 needs to be just jumped on immediately because it's 50% off. That might be a speaker that's just a little too long in the tooth. But again, I only spent 10 minutes with it, and I haven't tried it with Cabas's own amplifier. So give me some time to try it with some other amps, because it's a little more forward in the treble, and my amps are a little analytical. Could be a bad pairing, but 10 minutes, it's not a lot. Danlin says, what do you think about blocking the ports from the mains to integrate better for the main speaker and sub? The speaker sounds worse if you block the ports. I'm guessing you meant to say, when I demo rel subs, the store guys have. So I'm guessing you went to demo a speaker and a demo, and the dealer might have had the plugs, the ports plugged on the speaker. So look, this is a simple one. Try it. It's free. Shoving a couple of rags or towels or socks or whatever you got to plug the port is free. Try it. It's not the same as buying a sealed speaker. When you plug the port of a vented speaker, you end up with a speaker that's got a sealed cabinet that's just a little too big. But what it does is it changes the bass roll off from 24 dB to 12 dB. So it could make integrating a sub easier. Also, you don't have any port turbulence to deal with. So look, if you're just asking, is it true that it's easier to set up a sealed speaker with a subwoofer? Yeah, it's way easier. It's way easier, absolutely. Will your particular speaker sound better with the ports plugged? Hard to say, brother. You got to test it out. Test it out. That's like, is it better to pull the speakers out a lot or a little? It's your room. It's free to test. Test it out. Your mileage may vary. It's not something I do. But if I had plugs for the Canta #1, I definitely would have done that, because I had a really hard time getting the Cantas to pair well with any subwoofer. It was the same with the ELAC B5.2. Some speakers, they just have odd port behavior, and it's really hard to get a subwoofer to integrate well. And in those situations, absolutely experiment with plugging those ports. Hold on, I need to take a drink from today's not sponsor. Oh, the chest is sore from all those push-ups, boys. God damn. Peter, first name. Pre-outs from the Denon AVR 1800H to the Edifier S1000 Mark II active bookshelf. Can I do that? Depends. If these are subwoofer outs and they're filtered, no. But if it's just a pre-out, yeah, you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that. Jordan is asking, I know you have the videos, but what would your best mid-price subwoofer be for music only? Jordan, my bro, I need you to define what you mean by mid-priced. You know what I'm saying? So for some guys, mid-priced might be, $2,000. For another guy, mid-priced might be $249. I need to know what you mean by that specifically, and I'll be happy to answer that question. Backrack01 says, squats scare me. I have bad knees. Honestly, bro, is that self-diagnosed or have you been to a doctor? Because I used to get a lot of crackling and like sharpness in my knees when I squat. I went to see a knee specialist. He did a MRI or X-ray or something. He looked in there and he's like, you got good, strong knees. Some sharpness or crackling is not a big deal for you. Push through it. You'll be fine. It'll strengthen it. It's exactly what I did. It totally went away. And that's my advice. I'm not advising you push through it. I'm advising you see a specialist and get their opinion. If the specialist tells you to push through it, push through it. But if they're like, yeah, bud, your knees are cooked, then you're right. That's just if you feel like it's holding you back. Roy's giving Backrack some squatting advice. Love to see it. Choke change. Sorry, I only have JBL Soundcore Bluetooth speakers. I was just curious about the V4 when you recommended Wonder Room 3. Oh, no problem. Oh, we got retracted messages. Anytime I see a retracted message, I always think like the FBI came in here and retracted the message. It's funny to me. Ancient Alien, I'm going to join the Discord post show. Do it, bro. Do it. I feel like I missed a comment. Did I miss a comment? No, I didn't. Yeah, old Pepe, the comment did sound a little broken, but I did my best to translate. I'm an immigrant myself, and I don't have broken English, obviously, but my mom does, and a lot of my uncles and aunties do, so it's not too hard for me to make sense of it. Peter, first name, blocks made iron and rubber, alternating sheets is what they use on bridges, roads to absorb vibrations. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing iron and rubber for a subwoofer plinth. That's going to be, I guess I did something similar with granite and rubber. I was gonna sit here and say that's going to be too heavy, but granite's heavy too. So what am I saying, right? Chris 200, do these pucks also isolate floor standing speakers with spikes on a carpet? I don't know, bro. I'm not into the footer game. I'll ask the manufacturer. I'm sorry. I'm not into like tweaks really yet. I haven't entered that side of the hobby. Reticulated Ralphie says Rhythmic claims RCA is the best subwoofer input. Rel claims high level. Can you tell a difference? And do you have a preference? I've covered this before, but I'm happy to cover it again because I understand there's a lot of confusion around this topic. You got to remember, each subwoofer company is speaking for themselves, right? So when Rhythmic says that, if you have a Rhythmic subwoofer, best listen to them. If you have a Rel subwoofer and Rel says, use high level, then you best listen to them. These brands are not speaking generally. They're not giving you general hi-fi advice for other companies' products. They're speaking about their own products, okay? So yeah, when I use a Rhythmic, 99% of the time, just to be clear, when I'm reviewing a subwoofer, I'm using low level. That's what I'm using. Even when I review a Rel, I do use high level most of my listening, but I do test the low level also. and you've never really seen me say in a video that it's, a huge difference and you got to use high level only. If that was the case, I'd tell you now. Where high level, oh, and by the way, a lot of REL subs use low level too. Their whole HT range only uses low level. So I don't think it's true that REL says to only use high level. Also, their TX range is designed to use high level and low level at the same time. For a REL theater where you have, say, maybe a pair of S510s up front, high level off your main speakers to reinforce the front stage during non-LFE moments, and then additionally LFE out from your AVR into each one of the S510s to handle the LFE effects when they come in. So REL actually does believe in both very strongly. But the situations where high level is going to sound better than low level, it's this simple. If your amplifier, integrated amplifier, preamplifier, AVR, whatever the hell your front end equipment is, if it's got some kind of fucked up pre-out, then yeah, high level is going to sound better. And that's more common than you think, especially in older budget gear. Some sub outs have phase issues. They have delay. Sometimes they have filters and those filters are crappy and slow down the signal. And sometimes they have DSP going through them and it's just not clean. So yeah, if your gear subwoofer pre-out sucks, high level is going to get you a much cleaner signal in that situation. Newer gear, higher end gear doesn't have that problem, like my Kinky Studio preamp. Dude, it's like barely a difference, high level to low level. I noticed a slight difference with the volume tracking. Aside from that, it's near as makes no difference. Now, when I'm using something more inexpensive like an Iota VX SA3, yeah, I can tell the difference with a REL T7X or T9X high level versus low level. I can. I get a little bit more definition with the high level. And that's again, because it's not going through any kind of like filtered circuit. I don't know what's happening in that circuit of the Iota VX SA3. And it's not awful, don't get me wrong, but I did notice about a 10% improvement using high level with say $500 amplifiers like the Iota VX SA3 or the Emotiva TA1 or other inexpensive AVRs. It's not just the Iota VX SA3. Anything around $500, I noticed about a 10% improvement using high level with REL, but my rhythmic subs, none of them have even had high level. I've only used them low level and they always sound fantastic. So, again, look, if your subwoofer's got high level, experiment. It's free. It's free, but I don't believe one is the superior method over the other. Just depends. Stefan says, thank you. What's good, bro? You're always leaving positive comments. I appreciate you, bro. Larry Seidman, Bacardi 50, not shipping until February at earliest due to delay in receiving passive radiators. I told y'all this would happen. I told y'all. In the last live stream and a lot of other comments, people are like, are you going to review the E50? Are you going to review the E50? I'm like, bro, that thing doesn't exist yet. I probably won't even have a review sample until February. This is the holidays. Delays happen. Launching a product during the holidays, I'll be honest, launching a product in the last quarter, you're guaranteed to have delays. Guaranteed. In my industry, I deal with a lot of manufacturing, overseas manufacturing, stateside manufacturing. These factories, these suppliers, they take time off just like anyone else. They're operating at reduced staff, 3/4, half staff even. Same with their upchain vendors, right? You're going to run into delays. I am not surprised one bit. And there's nothing wrong with Bucart wanting to release a product in the third quarter, but yeah, you're going to run into delays. Ancient Alien says, bro, I love the Mountain Man series. Is that a book? Is it a sci-fi book? If it's sci-fi, let me know. I'll check it out. But if it's not, if there's no spaceship, I'm not interested. That's my rule when it comes to books. I know that sounds crazy, but like I really mean it. Stefan says, is Tone Winner worth a try? Thanks. No, I don't think so. I haven't checked them out because I don't think it's worth a try. It looks like White Van Special to me. It looks like when people say Chi-Fi, that's what I think of. China's able to make some great hi-fi products. I own quite a few of them. The Harmony DAC I love so much is made in China. My Kinky Studio stuff's made in China. Like 90% of most people's sound system is made in China. China is a good manufacturer capable of great stuff. But Tone Winner, that's like, to me, that's Swap Meet Special, White Van Special. It's not even worth me getting a review sample for free and checking out. That's where I'm at personally with it. Richard McCoy, how's the R8 coming? GoFundMe? Question mark. Yeah, right. I ain't doing no damn GoFundMe, bro. I got too much pride to do a GoFundMe. I would have to be really fucked up financially, like really just in bad shape to even consider doing a GoFundMe. Like I'll sell my house before I do a GoFundMe. Like I'm not like that. P for Foe, have you seen or read Silo? I haven't. It is sci-fi. I know about it. I've kind of like read the what's it called? Like the summary. I've read the summary. It's sci-fi. It's dystopian. I'm into that, but I don't think there's any spaceships. And I like spaceships. Like if I was retarded, that would be my thing. I'd be like, I like spaceships. Like I'm serious. That's how much I love spaceships. And I'm not making fun of the handicapped people. Listen, y'all. If you don't know this, the handicapped people, like the Down syndrome guys, some of the happiest people in the world. They are some of the happiest people in the world. My friend group had a Down syndrome dude in it for a while. His name was Spice. We called him Spice because he used to have a habit. He smoked a lot of spice. Good kid. A lot of problems, but the motherfucker was happy like all the time, dude. All the time, man. We took that motherfucker on some adventures. But unfortunately, one day he just got mad at us for like no reason. And he stopped hanging out with us. He said we were all like bad people and stuff. I think he was experiencing like some kind of psychosis, that's like sad. That kind of stuff does happen, but whatever. We gave him a good adventure while we could. And while he was down to hang with us, he was welcome. GMV, have you gotten to read Blind Sight by Peter Watts? No. Oh yeah, Ancient Aliens. It's R.C. Berry. Yeah. Oh, R.C. Bray. Sorry, is narrating Expeditionary Force. Yeah, he's a great narrator. No, GMV. I haven't checked out Blind Sight by Peter Watts. When I find an author I like, I tend to go deep. Like I found Xi Lu, and then I read a ton of his books. I found Adrian Tchaikovsky. I went super deep. I read a ton of his books. Let me tell you some other ones I've gotten into. We're just gonna log into my Audible. Dude, I'm trying to log in. Audible trying to sell me something. Where's the damn login? Sign in. Here we go. I know the non-book people over here are just like, man, this fool's just talking about science fiction books. But hey, look, I love it. That's what I'm into. So yeah, let's check my library. James S.A. Corey, going through his stuff for The Expanse. What else we got? I just read 1984 recently. That was okay. Expeditionary Forces by Craig Allenson. He is great. I am loving Expeditionary Force by Craig Allenson. So good. That's the one where I'm on like book 19 when you include the side stories. So absolutely fantastic. Such an adventure. Such a good time. Easy to listen to. Scott Bartlett is another one I got into. I read something like 20 of his books. Ixion Legacy, Ixion Prophecy, Mech Wars Quadrilogy. One of the last like ones got like kind of crappy, but yeah, dude, I love this stuff. I love it. And GMV, if Silo, not GMV, sorry, Foe, if Silo has a spaceship in it, tell me. I'll check it out if it's got a spaceship. Yeah, no, GMV, I figured, Blind Sight was a book, but does it have a spaceship in it is what I want to know. Choplin, what's up, brother? Do you like quantum mechanics? Just wondering because of the sci-fi stuff. I love learning about that shit too. Yeah, a lot. I follow YouTubers like Arvin Ash, Sabine Hoffens. I can't say her name. Let me look it up. If I see it written, I'll be able to say it. Sabina Hassenfelder. She's another physicist. I don't know if she's a physicist. I can't remember her area of expertise, but she talks a lot about physics. Arvin Ash. Another one, I think it's John Michael Gaudier. Let me see. Yep, John Michael Gaudier is another one. Astrum is another good YouTube channel where they talk about this stuff. Obviously, like my understanding of quantum mechanics, no matter how many of these videos I watch, is like minimal. But like, there's like crazy concepts I still remember. Like the whole like entanglement shit is wild. That is like crazy to me. Double slit experiment is crazy to me. Or like even like quasars, like how the conservation of angular momentum just like keeps that shit just swirling damn near the speed of light around the black hole. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The whole concept of just like observable universe and what that actually means, and how there's like a whole extra bunch of shit in any direction that is outside of our light cone. It's insane, dude. It's just insane to me. But yeah, bro, I love that stuff. Absolutely. I wish I was born like 1,000 years from now, honestly. Or I wish I could live for like 1,000 years so I could learn more of it. Get more answers, really, is what I mean. Not learn more. Just get more answers. Peter, first name spiders remember stuff. In that case, I'll think twice before I step on one next time. Payback's a bitch. I don't know if spiders today remember stuff. In the book I read, they did. Danlin says, see you guys in the Discord. It's 8 p.m. here, and I will listen to my speakers a little bit until I have to turn them off. Cheers to everyone. Take care, brother. Thank you for hopping in. Sean B says, are you going to review the Fossey amp that sometimes catch fire? No. I have it here. I got the review sample, and in the last live stream, you guys were talking about that. And I did talk to some other reviewers. You know, I talked to James ABX about it, and he was like, yeah, I've had 3 of them burn up. I asked him if any equipment got damaged. He said no. But then I talked to a couple engineers I know, and I was like, hey, I got a product in for a review. It's known to fail. Can this damage my other equipment? And they all said, yeah, it could definitely happen. That can definitely happen. So because most of my equipment is substantially more expensive than anything Fossey makes, it's just not worth it to me to damage my own gear or a review sample. It's just not worth it. And I haven't reached out to them yet to let them know that. But I need to do that. But no, I'm not going to review it. I'm not. You guys scared me a little bit there. Corey Morris says, Waterloo for the win. Yes, sir. Which reminds me, I need to take another sip before this thing warms up too much. Corey says, I have my speakers and sub on knob sound pucks. Yeah, there's a bunch of inexpensive options. There's a lot of companies that make cheaper pucks and little footers and such. Gaia is not the only one. In fact, they're just the most expensive. Manu, hi Nemo. Do you plan to review the ELAC AB 3.0 63s, 6.3s? Maybe. I actually just got a relationship with ELAC in the past couple weeks. I was recovering from the hernia surgery, so we put a pin in it, but the dude is super cool. It was actually a very refreshing conversation to have with a brand rep. Like very honest, but like I told him like some minor complaints I'd have with previous stuff, and he was like, fair. That's totally fair, my bro. He's like, for that price point, like those complaints are real, but like for that price point, that's also like not abnormal. And I was like, fair, you know? And what that complaint was, I'll share it with you guys. It was the DBR62, right? The DBR62 was originally a $599 speaker, and the vinyl wrap on the white was so beautiful. It was so nice. But then the vinyl wrap on the one with the black base was like so much cheaper by direct comparison. It was terrible. And he's like, that's a totally fair complaint. I agree with you. You're right. The white was such a nicer vinyl. And he's like, but if you can't compare the vinyl of the black to the white. You have to compare the vinyl of the black to like the price category. right? And I was like, okay, that's fair. That is super fair. Like if you compare the Elec DBR62 with the black bass to other speakers in and around that, $699 price category, its vinyl wrap is just fine. It's not bad. It's just the white one is just boom. It's like a step up. It's so nice. But it was super cool to see someone that could like take criticism and not get all weird. Y'all, sometimes you give like these brands some criticism, they get all like offended and weird. It's like, use your words. Don't be scared. It's okay. Q Acoustic. Oh, sorry, man who had more to his question. Or the Q Acoustics. Q Acoustics ain't really a sound for me, so I don't know if I'll check out more Q Acoustics. I know a lot of you guys love their stuff. Maybe in the future. Magnat, striking hard above their price range. I haven't heard anything from Magnat. No good points. Is the Outlaw Art Audio 2160 Mark II too old to purchase? I don't even think it's that old. It's an integrated amp with a built-in streamer. Like it looks old, but it's a modern piece. I don't think it's too old. No, why would it be too old? No, I think it's a great amp. If you value neutrality, if you want an amplifier that's all about clean output, if you want an amplifier and you're one of those guys that believes an amplifier should not color the sound, it should be like signal in, signal out, amplification, good clean output, low distortion. That's what the Outlaw RR2160 is. It does a great job at that. Great feature set too. Sorry if I keep moving, guys. Again, I'm mostly recovered from this surgery, but I get a little like tight still, I got to do a little mini stretch. Peter, first name, years ago, I came up with the idea, but I never implemented it. Alternating rubber and iron from underneath my turntable. I mean, you could try it now. Oh, so you had that idea before you learned that's what bridges do. That's pretty cool. Sean B., a dealer said, if you're using high level on rel, don't connect the ground on Class D amps. It can apparently damage the amp. I don't really mess with Class D amps, but I do know using high level output off a Class D amp to any sub could be a bad idea. And I do strongly suggest if you have a Class D amp, you contact your subwoofer's manufacturer before using high level to see if there's anything you need to know. Or if you should just not do it, perhaps. But honestly, I mean, if you have a Class D amp, just run an RCA cable to your rel. Like, it's still a rel subwoofer. It's still going to sound great. I think sometimes you guys get too picky. You get too worried. Oh, what if I'm leaving 5% on the table? What if it could sound 2.5% better? Who cares? Like your mental state just being like calm is going to make the music sound 5% better. I promise you. Don't worry so much. Don't worry, guys. P for Fuss saying Doom Prophecy third episode is coming out today. I'm not even watching it. Is it worth it? I don't pay for HBO currently because House of the Dragon sucked. I like the first season, but I just fell off after that. The time jump really messed me up. Honestly, that's what it was. The time jump, I just wasn't here for it. Is Dune Prophecy worth it? Should I pay for HBO? I'll sign up for it tonight if you say it's a good show. But tell me, where is it in the Dune, universe? Because I've only watched the first movie. I haven't seen the second movie. So let me know. Is it a side story? Is it a continuation of the second movie? And if I should buy HBO for it, I'll do it as soon as the stream's over. I love Dune. Larry Saidman, Mads did give me a $200 refund when I stuck with the purchase. I don't know what you're referring to, brother. That's a very out of context update. It does seem like you're giving me an update of some kind, but it also looks like you're expecting me to remember some past conversation that I do not remember. I'm sorry. You guys got to remember, I'm engaging with 99% of people that want to engage with me. There's no way I can remember every single one of you in past conversations or your systems and what you owned. Ancient Alien, bro, check out Point Nemo by Jeremy Robinson, narrated by R.C. Bray. Ancient Aliens. I need to know, is there a spaceship in it? Guys, if you're going to recommend a book to me, no problem. No problem. But if there's no spaceship in it, it's at the bottom of my priority list. Let me make a list. Hold on. You guys just let me, this is my recommendation. Yes, it has a spaceship, or no, there's no spaceships. You got to let me know. Here, I'm gonna write this down. I just made a notepad. So look, I added out Point Nemo by Jeremy Robinson. All right. If it's narrated by R.C. Bray, it might move up higher on my list, even if there's no narrator. I'm not narrator, sorry. If there's no spaceship. Fo is saying, honestly, bro, I don't know if there's spaceships, but I read a bit of the synopsis and it reminds me of Fallout. Maybe there's space shit too, but I'll read and let you know. I'm a huge sci-fi space nerd too. Yeah. Let me know, bro. Let me know. I need to know if there's a spaceship. I wasn't joking when I said, like, I like spaceships the way, like, the Down syndrome people like trains. Like, I like spaceships a lot. JR says, have you been following any of the recent UAP stuff? The UFO. I know what UAP is, but I appreciate you also refer to it as UFO just in case I wasn't in the know. Nah, unfortunately, I don't really believe in that. I don't. I wish they were true. I do wish they were true, but for the most part, most UAPs are an issue of perspective. Like what is being, or they're fake. Some of them are just fake, but most of them are an issue of perspective. Like it looks like this thing's moving really fast because the distance isn't what you think it is, right? There's a guy who his whole thing is like he goes out and he like recreates them and he shows you like this is how, this is why this thing looked like that in the sky, and it's kind of heartbreaking because even he's like I'm sorry guys, he's like I want this to be real. He's like I do this because I'm looking for a real one. But I like the Fermi paradox to me is like, I'm kind of the belief that like this is an empty universe, that we're first. I don't necessarily believe in it. I believe there like might be a great filter. I don't know, but I just like, I think we're first, or just like space is so big and so vast. Even if there's like thousands of like habitable planets that have life on them, the likelihood of that life becoming sentient, I think that's the great filter that's behind us. Like, just consider this. Like, let me just Google something real quick. Give me a second. So Earth has an estimated 8.7 million different species on this one planet. Only one is sentient. Only one. That's us. Only one out of 8.7 million. So, you know, and then there's also like weird stuff like okay, like octopuses are pretty smart. Like octopuses and gorillas are like known to be smart, but like let's say an octopus on some like ocean planet evolves and becomes like super smart. They can't create fire because they're underwater. Without fire, you can't smelt metal. Without metal, you don't have semiconductors and that kind of technology. So no matter how smart even if an octopus got to like human level smart, they could not have a civilization the way we have. They could not build a satellite. There's no way to do that underwater, right? So I don't really like follow it because I think most of them are fake or just misunderstandings. Twisty Flora, I would love it if Upscale Audio let us in the store. Any insight on UA's partnership with Tannoy? What are you talking about if Upscale Audio would let you in the store? They're a retailer. You could go there anytime you want. I don't know if you live close to them. Upscale Audio is a distributor, online retailer, and a retail store. Anybody can go to Upscale Audio. You could totally go. As far as any insight on Upscale Audio's partnership with Tannoy, no, I don't have any insight on that. If I just had to guess, I'd imagine it has something to do with the acquisition. Tannoy got acquired by a larger company. Oftentimes when that happens, things change a lot. Sometimes the brand's vision changes a lot. Sometimes, they protect the brand. Sometimes they don't. So it's probably got something to do with that. I don't know. Stephen Clark, hi Nemo, out of curiosity, where do you have your crossover and gain set on your T7X in your room set, knowing all rooms and speakers are different? Roughly how many clicks? I appreciate that you mentioned that, because if you didn't, I wouldn't answer. I would be like, it doesn't matter. My room's not your room. So I appreciate you acknowledging that. It depends which speakers I'm using. So yeah, it depends what speakers I'm using. Honestly, sometimes it's just a few clicks, just a few on the frequency, like 3 or 4. Sometimes that frequency knob is turned down almost all the way. Sometimes that frequency knob is turned up to 12 o'clock. Never past 12 really. Well, sometimes 1 o'clock on some speakers, but not past 1 o'clock. But yeah, it really depends. Sometimes I have that frequency knob turned down a lot, almost to 0. Sometimes it's quite high. And it depends where you have your phase set also. If I run negative phase, I tend to get a lot of comb filtering in the mid bass region. So then I do have to like crank up the frequency knob to like 12 to 1 o'clock. And that gives me like a more confident low end. If I have the phase set to positive, it's quite a bit more accurate. But the 8s don't extend quite as low. My room tends to get comb filtering then at the lower frequencies. Playing with placement could help solve that, but I like my subs where I like my subs, and I'm able to get them to sound right by messing around with that frequency knob and having the sub fight the room a little bit in the mid band, and it works for me. Choplin says Theories of Everything is a good book for quantum mechanics, but he gets into aliens and stuff sometimes. I just skipped that. I read a book on the double split experiment. That shit was 2 cents sometimes. Your typo made this really hard to understand, bro. I'm sorry. Twisty Flora, ELAC looks out for their customers. Had a busted UB52, brought it to their warehouse in Fontana, and they fixed it up on the spot. Some of the coolest people in hi-fi. Damn, that's good service. That is some good service. Thank you for sharing that with us. That is good for them, dude. That is awesome. Ham says, what are your thoughts on having a skilled tech rebuild a well-designed vintage amp? What are the limitations and strengths of quality vintage amps? I'm not into vintage, but most of the time my understanding is a skilled tech is mostly replacing capacitors, sometimes a volume pot. And that's not too hard to work. I'd be more worried about skilled tech, because there's certain trades like electronics repair, photography, graphic design, where the person is declaring their expertise. You have nothing to go on but their word. That's tough. That's tough. You know what I mean? I took my CSS crossovers to a electronics repair place, and their solder job was dog shit. It was dog shit, man. It was not good. It was not what I was expecting. And the guy's been in the repair business for like 40 years now. Does that mean his solder work was bad? No, it probably functioned just fine, but it wasn't very pretty. So maybe ask for some examples of work, stuff like that. But a competent tech should be able to handle that, no problem. But aside from that, as far as vintage stuff being good, is it worth it? Depends how much you like it, bro. My friends ask me all the time, like, my car's a 2018 Audi S7, right? German cars are known to not last too long. And I've had it since it was new, and my friends are like, what would you do if the motor blew up? Would you like replace it because they know how much I love the car? Or would you like buy a new car? And I'm like, I think I'd replace it because I love the car. It's not the best decision financially, but I love the car. So I'd probably replace it. So it just depends how much you like the amp. Sizzle, how do you think music streaming quality is through a Denon AVR, like a 3800? The DAC is compared to the DAC of a WIM Ultra. Watch so much of your stuff, but not sure if you reviewed WIM. No, I haven't reviewed WIM because like I know what it is. Like inexpensive stuff, it can be really good at sounding clean and clear, but it doesn't have like the refinement I'm into, and it gets overhyped a lot of the time, and I don't like that. And this is the reality. If I review WIM and I say it's not that good, everyone's just gonna think I don't like Randy and I'm just trying to like disagree with him or something, and like that's not the case. So usually if like Randy reviews something that's really inexpensive and he likes it and his crowd likes it, if I try it and I don't like it, I just keep my mouth shut because like those people are happy. Let them be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's the maximum budget on stuff you can afford, like if you believe it's 10 times better than it costs, like, okay, like that's fine. I don't think that, I don't think it sounds any better than it costs personally, but if someone else thinks it's twice as good as what it costs, okay. If you're happy with your system, you're happy with your system. I've never streamed through a Denon 3800, so I couldn't tell you, but it probably sounds fine. You know what I mean? It probably sounds fine to like get things started, you know? Sean B says springs look stupid, but they're next level with isolation. If you get the right size, yeah, they do look stupid. I appreciate you keeping it real, brother. You will not catch me with springed footers. Sam Sneed, what's up, man? I missed out on getting a pair of the Cabas Murano. I see they have two other models, specifically the Minorca. Do you plan on reviewing either model? Yeah, I have review samples. I've listened to the MC40. I said this earlier in the live. You probably weren't in yet. Look, the MC40, the Minorca, full price was $1,200. Full price of the Murano was $4,500 or $4,400. Worlds apart. Worlds apart, not even close. Not even close. The MC40 is not a budget Murano. Not even close. Let's just get that out of the way. With that said, I only listened to the MC40 for about 10 minutes, so I don't want to really speak beyond that. But 10 minutes is enough to know it's not a Murano on a budget. Not even close. It's a different speaker entirely. David Castman, smash that like for Nemo. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. What it really does is it helps other people who watch my content. It helps it pop up on their like For You page if they happen to be online right now so they can hop in also. Fo says way better than House of the Dragon. That was a disappointment. Yeah, it was. It's a prequel to the universe. The second Dune was fucking insane, bro. You need to watch it next time you have a chance. Yeah, is it on HBO? Is Dune 2 on HBO? If it is, and they got a TV show now, it's a prequel. Yeah, I'll get HBO again. I'll give HBO another $15 a month. Yeah, made you want to start reading the book. Yeah, I'm gonna read the Dune books at some point, but I'm only gonna read the Frank Herbert ones. I heard his son's work was not that good. And I'm pretty sure his son, even on record, is kind of like, maybe perhaps on record is not the right way, but I believe his son is kind of viewed as not really being a fan of sci-fi or his father's own work and just someone who was like trying to keep the legacy going. And, you know, wanted to make a couple of bucks probably, which is fine. But he was not his father. Bill Bloomfield says, I just tuned in and we're talking about spaceships. Loving this. Yes, sir. I love spaceships, guys. I swear. If an alien ship came down right now and all they said was hop in with no context, I'm hopping in. I'm hopping in. I don't care if I'm coming back to Earth or not. I'm hopping in that ship. Bro, I can't be watching old Twilight Zone. I can't. That's it's too much before my time. Kevin, Sean B says, Kevin Deal has done well. Ferrari house in Malibu. Are you saying Kevin from Upscale Audio has done well? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Upscale Audio is not a small store. Like they're master distributor for some brands. They have a repair center on site. They hold a tremendous amount of inventory. Upscale Audio is one of the largest dealers in the country. Yeah, the man has definitely done well for himself. Yeah. I didn't know he had a Ferrari though. I got to ask him about that. Last time I saw him, he was in a Quadrifoglio, which is still a badass car. Peter, first name, music suggestion. I'll be honest, guys. I don't really check out y'all's music suggestions. I don't. I know I should, but like, I just never get to it. I just want to be honest about that. Wildstar says, hey, it's a Nemo Streamo. Yes, sir. Wondering if you could talk about subwoofer phase adjustments, trying to get the most out of a single JL Audio D108 on the front wall, about 3 inches from right wall. Phase is a tough thing to get right. It is. The easiest way to do it, okay, is you got to play a song you're intimately familiar with. For me, it's Put On by Jeezy. The intro has 4 different frequencies of bass, and I need to hear all of them. If I'm not hearing all of them, then I've got some filtering happening, some cancellation happening at one of those frequencies, and I know my phase is off. If you have a wife, a child, a friend, whatever, that can come over and twist that phase knob as you listen to those tracks kind of over and over and over to hear for cancellation, the correct phase is usually the one where you don't have cancellation. Now, with that said, twisting that frequency knob does have a relationship to phase. I know it's confusing and it's annoying. So say you have frequency set at 50 hertz, you dial in your phase, say you change that frequency knob to 80 hertz, your phase is different now. They have a relationship with each other. I believe for JL Audio subs, phase is on center at 80 hertz, but JL Audio also has fantastic tech support. If you need more help than what I just covered, give them a call. The really good people. I can't remember their tech's name, but I talked to them many times. Very knowledgeable, especially when setting up subwoofers. Where did I leave off? Hold on, guys. Need to take another sip of the beverage. Empty. Larry Sadman just says Bucard E50. I don't know if you meant to type more, bro, but that's all your comment says, so I don't know what you mean. Delicious In. Hey, Nemo, stoked about the prospect of Andrew R reviewing Arrhythmics. So we're talking about Andrew Robinson. He mentioned you did. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Thanks for recommending the brand to him. Yeah, bro. I've been saying it for years. I love Rhythmic, man. I love them. And the only problem is, Rhythmic doesn't. They're like a brand. They're a small boutique company. Their products sell out really quickly. Like they just restocked, but almost all their subwoofers were sold out for a while. So I don't know how badly they care to like send out a review sample to someone. Like before me, they like no one really reviewed Rhythmic because they wouldn't send review samples. And the reason they didn't really like sell review samples, send review samples, they didn't need to. They're kind of like shit audio. Like shit audio, their stuff just like sells real well. But most of the Rhythmic subwoofers I reviewed early on, I bought those myself. I think it did like boost sales a little bit for them, and that they were like, whoa, this did help a little bit. But I view them as a company that's pretty happy with where they at. But I would love to see an Andrew Robinson review of a Rhythmic subwoofer, because Andrew Robinson is one of the few guys that I do think understands bass pretty well. I think he knows how to set up a subwoofer pretty well. That's not an opinion I have of most reviewers, and I'm not dogging anyone. It's just most reviewers don't use subwoofers. If you don't use a subwoofer as part of your system normally, then like your experience, your data points, your ability to get the thing dialed is only going to be so good. It's like Nemo propaganda doesn't use vinyl. If I set up a record player right now, like it's probably not going to be as good as someone like Steve Guttenberg doing it. It's just straight up, you know. But I know Andrew, you know, he's a bass guy. He knows bass. I trust him to, you know, actually get that thing dialed in, right? You know, one thing I do, what I would wonder if that review ever happened, I wonder how Andrew would feel about all the switches and knobs on the back. Yeah, because like Andrew is like, some guys are like Andrew and Darko, where like they like the modernness, right? They're like into like, it's 2024, you know, things should be user friendly. Andrew's always been a proponent of that. Like stuff has got to be user friendly. That's how we get more people into the hobby. The easier the product is to set up, the better experience the user is going to have. He doesn't seem to like cumbersome stuff, and I totally get that. To me, the plate amp of the Rhythmic Sub is pretty intuitive, but for a novice, I could see it being a little bit overwhelming. Andrew's not a novice. Andrew has the experience, but I wonder if he'll find it intuitive or cumbersome. I do wonder. But, you know, again, for those of you that may not know, like, why doesn't Rhythmic have an app? It doesn't have a DSP. It's an analog subwoofer. There's no DA conversion happening in the subwoofer. That's one of the reasons it sounds incredible. What's up, Ty? Says, hope recovery's going well. It is, thank you. If you had to pick one DIY 2-channel build, what would it be? With a competent sub to fill in the lows, so 2.1. I'm not like a DIY expert. I haven't reviewed a ton of DIY stuff, but the CSS stuff I love. I love CSS. I still own my 1TDs. I had the X in for review too. I like that too. Fantastic bass, fantastic mid-range, good treble, a little bit relaxed, which is what I like. Dark, warm, tonally rich sound overall. Love it. Absolutely love it. I can't remember what sub I used with the CSS. I do know 70% at least, or at least half of my listening, I didn't even use a sub because I didn't need one. They did just come out with those bass modules for the 1TD, which looks really interesting. But CSS, I mean, shit, I'd probably use my, if I was setting up my CSS 1TDs right now, like after this stream, I'd probably set them up with my Rhythmic FVX12. That's a pretty great combination. Sizzle says, appreciate your thoughts. The Whim to me sounds so much better than the Denon 3800. I mean, it might be, I don't know. I haven't like compared the two. Bigger and airier and spacious, so much more lively. Just wanted to give my thoughts, curious of yours. Yeah, I haven't heard that Denon, nor its streamer specifically, but that's possible. You know that some of these AVRs are really good at processing, but some of their features are kind of like, hey, what's the cheapest part we can shove in this thing to give it this feature so that marketing can write it in, you know, in the feature list. That is the case sometimes. It is. NC, what are your thoughts on polypropylene used for speakers, woofers as to sounding natural versus paper, generally speaking? Too rounded or just as accurate and capable? I can't remember the last speaker I reviewed that had a poly cone, but I don't really pay attention to that too much, honestly. I don't care what stuff's made out of. You know, does some stuff have a sound? Generally, but there's always exceptions to the rule too. Like I don't like AMT speakers generally, but I own the Platimon, I own the Supermon Mini. Those have AMTs and I like those quite a bit. But I can't remember the last poly speaker I reviewed, so I couldn't tell you because it's not something I pay attention to. Fo says, yeah, Dune 2's on HBO. Audio is trash through streaming though. Yeah, what's new, you know? All right, cool. I'll get HBO then. NX says Alpha's not making a Julia trim between the quad and 4-cylinder. Unfortunate. I mean, do they need to? What would be between the Quadrifoglio and the 4-cylinder, like base model? I mean, for the longest time, BMW and Mercedes didn't have a trim in between. You know, before it was like, hey, you got a BMW 328, or you got the one with the inline six, 315 horsepower. It might have been called the 330 back in the day. But now they have like the M340, right? In between the M3 and the standard like 328 or whatever it's called. And that's got like under 400 horsepower, but a lot more than the old inline six had. I'm a fan of the in-between models, but do they have an in-between engine? Does Alpha have an engine that can fit? Because that was the problem. Like BMW didn't have an in-between engine. Now they do. Mid-fi guy, what's up, brother? He says, hey, brother, I got the Muranos thanks to you. Paired them with the shit tier monos and loving life. Only problem is I want something higher end now. LOL. Joseph Audio Pulsars, kudos, Titan 505s. Yeah, I mean, if you're still on the merry-go-round, I mean, I get it, bro. Some, especially like, this is what I've noticed in this hobby. There's guys like me that I can experience something 2 or 3 times better than what I own, and it doesn't make me feel like I need to own it. It just doesn't bother me. I'm the same with cars. Like my Audi S7 is a 2018, right? That's kind of old now. The tech in it is old. It's a beautiful car. I love it. But when I hop in my buddy's 911 GTS or my other buddies like AMG GLE 63, that's a 2024 model, those interiors are so much nicer. But then I hop back in my own car and I don't care because I love what I got. I'm like off the merry-go-round, I guess. But if you're still like on the merry-go-round, like I get it. I was on the merry-go-round for a long time. I think I'm a lot older than you though, at least judging from your videos. I think you're probably a decade younger than me. I'm 41. So some of the shit comes with age. But then again, there's like older guys too that are going through gear like crazy. So look, hey, bro, I'll say this. However you enjoy the hobby is okay. Ali Alamari, your best speaker of 2024 regarding price point and why? No. I don't like the way that question was really asked, especially this close to my end of the year video. Come on, bro. That's kind of like a demand the way you type that. Some of y'all, I don't think you're trying to be rude or nothing, but some of y'all type in a way that is like very dry sometimes. Also, like no context. Help me help you. Best speaker of 2024 regarding price point. What price point? You know what I'm saying? What price point? And then we just say like open-ended and why. That's like, I don't like those kind of open-ended questions, man. I don't. But yeah, brother, you're going to have to wait for my 2024 end of the year video where I'll cover a lot of that stuff. I call it deadlift getting out of bed in the morning. Fletcher. Well, I guess it depends on how much you weigh, right? That depends how much you weigh. It could be. That could be a deadlift. Serge says, I really want a rel or rhythmic, but that phase adjustment advice you gave was literally the reason I went with dual SB 4000s. The adjustment from my seats. Yeah, I get that, bro. I get that. You know what I mean? If it is better to have a subwoofer that you can get dialed in right in your room than something that may be technically better or a step up or have higher performance, but you can't get it dialed in your room, if that makes sense. Drink is empty, but we got the big red cup. Backup. I've been streaming for an hour and a half. Let's start wrapping it up in a little bit here. I started playing this new video game. I found a video game I could get into, guys, and I kind of want to play it. It's called Ys Origins. It's spelled Y''S and then the word Origins. Love it. Super like niche style, retro JRPG. Super cool, kind of Zelda style action-based combat, but like pixel graphics. A lot of fun. Really loving it. Oh, where did I leave off? Oh, the stream might be wrapping up. I'm at the tail end of comments. Sean B, how's How's the house shopping? You know, the economy is probably going to be good. Honestly, bro, I stopped house shopping because my property is appreciating faster than fucking anything else I'm looking at. So I feel like I could just put this project on the back burner and I'll just build more equity. Just in the time I started house shopping and stopped, my unit's up like another 100K. I live in this luxury community that is pretty nice. There's a lot of demand to live here. It's like, bro, there's 3 different schools in the community. There's something like 19 parks. We have, I think, 6 dog parks. 2 of those dog parks are dedicated to small dogs. One of them's mixed, and the other ones are for big dogs. We have dog washing stations at the dog parks. There are outdoor smokers and barbecues, just like free to use. And it's very well maintained. So like a lot of people want to live here. So the value just keeps chooching. So I'm like, why would I sell this and move to an area that depreciates slower or what? Just so I could have a 3-car garage instead of a 2-car? Like, I would rather have the appreciating asset, you know? It's tough because like I want a bigger place, but like, dude, I'm single. I don't need a bigger place. Like I'm in a good spot, honestly. And it just like, it keeps appreciating. It's almost like you want to quit your job, but they keep paying you more. They keep giving you raises. So you stay, you know? Thank you, Sizzle. I appreciate you. CC says Spendor has polywoofers. They do? I don't think so, bro. Not the classic 3.1 I have. That didn't look like any kind of poly. Let's take a look. By the way, I'm surprised no one commented on my different color shirt. Usually if I wear anything but a black shirt, someone says something. No, the Spendor Classic 3.1 I have, base driver with Kevlar composite stabilizer domes. I don't know what that means. Let's go to Spendor's website. Product details. It's loading a PDF. So the word poly doesn't even show up on their sheet. Zoom in. This is a really small PDF. I'm reading, guys. Sorry. It does says it's a EP77 polymer cone, cast magnesium alloy chassis, high efficiency motor. Maybe that's their way of saying poly, but yeah, I don't know. I love the Spendor though. I freaking, that Spendor 3.1, that's my kind of sound. It is dark. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. It's like a original Bucart S400, not to mark you like the original, but like just step up in every way. But that kind of sound, dark, tonally rich, warm. You definitely given up some resolution to get that tonal richness, but my God, is it amazing. If you're a little bit hard of hearing though, it's probably not going to be for you. Even with the analytical amps, you are giving up some resolution. NX, yeah, bro, I agree. The M340, the S5, yeah, it's a shame we don't have an S4 anymore. The S5 and the C43 are kind of nice balances. Yeah, I'll be honest, I like the C43 the way it drives more than I like the way the C63 drives, personally. I find the in-between cars are just a lot more comfortable. They're quite a bit faster than their base model counterparts. Sure, not quite as fast as the top model, right? But so you give up some of the ultimate performance, the ultimate handling and raw horsepower, but you gain a lot more like drivability and livability and comfort. That's why I have the S7 instead of the RS7. My S7 has air ride. I still have a twin turbo V8 with 450 horsepower, whereas the RS7 has steel spring suspension. I'd rather have the air ride, especially in a grand touring car. Wildstar says, thanks. Space Battleship Yamato is a good spaceship, by the way. Yeah, I watched that anime, but like 14 episodes in, I fell off, so I didn't finish it. Fletcher says, interesting book, Strange Angel by George Pendle, about the founding members of JPL. Strange things going on with Jack Persons. That doesn't sound like it has a spaceship, bro. Is there a spaceship in that? If there's no spaceship, Nemo propaganda ain't gonna read it. Tyler Cheeseman, have you heard the Emotiva XPA amp before? I have. I've always wanted to know how it compares to the Audio VX SA40. That mic placement makes you look like your arm is in a sling. LOL. I always love your channel. Does it? Oh, kind of, huh? Oh, like, yeah, I can see that. Let's see here. I've heard the Emotiva XPA is more like clean and clear. Iota VX sound has a little bit of warmth to it. So tonally, they're a little bit different. Iota VX is more going for like neutral to neutral warm, where Emotiva is going just a little bit more towards like showroom sound. Both do it well, but they're slightly different, yeah. Like if someone called Emotiva analytical, I wouldn't like strongly disagree. I'd say that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I wouldn't like super argue with them a lot either. I'd be like, I could see how you could think that. But yeah. NX says, by the way, thank you for your FVX12 review. I own one and love it. Hell yeah. I still love mine. I still love my FVX12 so much. And I own Carbon Specials too, you know what I mean? Like my FVX12 can't move in the transients like my Carbon Special can, right? But like, dude, for $1,200, like it's so good. It is so good. I love my FVX12. That still continues to be, like if someone was like, what in your opinion is the most like hidden gem subwoofer that people are sleeping on, that more people need to buy, it's the Rhythmic FVX12. If I could, I would give that Subwoofer of the Year award every year. Every year, I would just be like, Rhythmic FVX12, have a nice day. Like, I swear, I love that subwoofer. Good job. Good for watch. What's up, man? I don't know if this is too personal, but what do you do for a living? Yeah, it's too personal. Yeah, I appreciate you understanding that. But yeah, I don't like getting into that. P for fun, not the best idea to sell if you bought it at a low rate. Yeah, bro, I got a 3 1/4. Yeah, Fo. My interest rate's 3 1/4 on the property, so again, it's tough to want to get out and get into something that's not going to appreciate as quickly, and maybe have like a 7%, 7.5, maybe 6 3/4, maybe, I don't know. It's tough all for a 3-car garage, because that's what I want. I want a 3-car garage. That's the main reason I want to move, so I can like do more with my car hobby stuff, but it doesn't make sense getting out of what I have. What I have is just like, it's so prime for like an asset. Like it just doesn't make sense to get out of it. Good for watch. What city are you in and where did you go to school? Yeah, see, that's too close for comfort. Normally I would have answered that question, good for watch, but I talked to another reviewer recently who was like, I've had people show up at my door. And I'm not trying to have that happen. Now, his channel is way bigger than mine, and I don't think any of my subscribers would just show up at my door. But that would be a bad time. That wouldn't be a good time. So I got to keep things a little bit private, bro, just being on the internet. I leave these live streams up, so I can't be like saying it and just have that information out there forever. You know what I mean? I'm in Southern California, and I'd rather just leave it at that. Because you never know. Like today, the channel's small. What if like a year from now, I have like 100K subscribers? I guess some weirdo comes find and knock on my door just to say hi. That's some weird shit. I can't be having that. I get it though. Like it's an on-topic question because we're talking about like property values and stuff like that. It's a fair question. I totally, like, I wish I could answer, but there's too many weird people out there, bro. Mid-Fi guy says the different color shirt must be a filter. Oh man. Ariel Yorstat, hi Nemo. Can a crossover in a receiver? Sorry. Hi Nemo. Can crossover in, I think you meant to say receiver on the main speakers, 80 hertz affect how easy it is to put the polarization on the sub? Yeah. Well, again, the typos really made that hard to answer, but yeah, bro, like how you set up your AVR can introduce phase shift. It can. So what I would recommend, and this is what Rel recommends, because you say you have a Rel 1205 V2. So personally, I still have my Rel 1003 V2, and I reviewed the 1205 V2. Start with that frequency knob all the way down on that 1205 V2, all the way down. Try that. You might be surprised that it'll sound better. You'll still have some mid-bass impact, but that's what I would try. And then set your speakers to just large, full size, full range, whatever. So there's no filtering of your main speakers. That's what I would try if I were you. But yeah, you don't want to keep changing it. That can and does introduce a phase shift. I know phase is a motherfucker, guys. Yeah, changing any kind of crossover or roll off or slope can affect phase. Midfi guy says, I'm getting into 2-channel and haven't had the time. I don't know how Nemo does it. Consistent quality videos with great insight. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I mean, I listen a lot, bro. I'm single too. Like if you have a girlfriend, that's going to take up a lot of your time. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, like anytime they give me compliments, like wait till I have a girlfriend. Like if I get a girlfriend or have a kid, then you'll see if like I'm really on top of things or not. Being single, having no kids, having no dog, like world is mine. I do whatever I want anytime I want to do it. You know, also, I'll give you a secret, Midfi guy. You might not know this. A lot of you guys might not know this. I don't film every weekend. I don't. I'll sit down and I'll crank out like 4 videos in one sitting, like on a Saturday night. Like, especially like during the winter time, my buddies like to go, they go camping like in the desert a lot. Listen, I don't play that shit. That is way too cold. I am not into that. So I'll stay home those weekends they go out. So all my buddies are out of town. It's just me. So I'm home for the whole weekend. And on a Saturday night, I'll film like 4 or 5 videos. I'll get them all edited up over the next few days, like when I have some free time. And then boom, I've got 5 weeks of content uploaded and scheduled and ready to go. I don't have to do shit for like 4 or 5 weeks. But my videos are like crass. They're like low quality. I don't have a lot of editing. They're a single take through and through. If I cough through the video, I don't even edit it out. If I misspeak, I just put an on-screen element to fix it. I give myself permission to be imperfect, and that allows me to turn out a lot of content in a single sitting. If you're trying to have your takes be absolutely perfect, I think it's going to be hard, bro, because I know reviewers like that, you know? I wish Andrew Robinson was still in here. I want to know how many takes. Because sometimes, like some of his videos, they're so polished, they're so perfect, they're so good. But in some of his videos, he's left like the blooper parts in, like at the tail end, and those are really fun. But I wonder, Andrew, if you're still in here, let us know, bro. Like on average, maybe, or like maybe tell us about like worst case, like what's the longest the video ever took? I'm sure he's got a horror story. We all do, you know. That stuff takes time, you know, to have polished content like that. I wouldn't be able to do 4 or 5 in one sitting. Good for watch. Sorry for all the personal questions. No, bro, it's cool. Like you guys can always ask. I don't mind. You can ask the most personal question in the world as long as you understand I might not answer it. The only time I get mad when people ask personal questions is if they get mad that I don't answer. Then now you're being entitled. I don't like that. The only time I got offended by a question is someone commented on one of my videos, like in the YouTube comments, and they're like, hey, like, are you into guys? And to me, I was like, that's the wildest shit in the world to ask, like, what, like, I do in the bedroom, like publicly. You don't even, that's crazy. That's a crazy question to ask a stranger. And I just told this dude, I was like, bro, like, you understand we're strangers. We've never conversed before. You think you could just like ask me, like, what's wrong with you, bro? That's crazy. That's like me walking up to a random dude and being like, hey, Does your wife like it doggy or missionary? Like, that'd be a crazy question to ask. You don't act like sexual stuff is private. That's crazy to ask, you know? I think for the record, I think everybody knows I'm like as straight as motherfucker comes, but like it was crazy to me that he like it's okay. Like I've had like people that know me ask that question because I stay single for like long periods of time. And I've had homies like in the past be like, hey bro, like no disrespect or anything, but like I seen you've been single for a while. Like, are you into like dudes or something? And I'm like, no, bro, like I'm not, but like, it's fine if like someone who knows me asks or whatever, but you know, yeah, that's the only question I'd say. That's just like, you asking about like sexual stuff. I'm a little conservative with that. I believe that's a private matter, you know. I wouldn't ask what you do with your women. I don't ask what you, and I ask that you don't ask me what I do with my women. Don't sell for an extra garage unless you can buy all cash. Yeah, I hear you, Bill. That's kind of what I'm thinking is I should not buy another property unless I can keep this one too. It no longer makes sense to sell this one to fund the next purchase. It just doesn't. Good for watch. I know you're not a weirdo. I'm worried about the other weirdos that are going to see you ask where I live. I say it, and then a different weirdo shows up. Serge says he's got Emotiva DR1s. Detailed is what I'd say. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, Emotiva is good, clean, clear sound. If you want a lot of power and you've got a budget you're trying to stick to, it's good stuff. Ancient Alien says, I want those Arendelle 1528 bookshelves bad. You could have them. 44, 4,500 bucks, 45, I think. It's not out of reach. Even if you don't have it right now, you could save for that, you know? I don't know if you want to spend that, right? Because there's times I want something, but I'm like, not at that price though. You know what I mean? Like I want a 6-pack of Rel Carbon Specials, but like not at the price of 6 Rel Carbon Specials. I think that's all of us, right? Like we all want the expensive shit at the cheap shit price, you know? Good for watch. You want me to roast your rig? Tell us what you got. I'll roast it. Yeah, that's good advice. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good sound. Yeah, absolutely. Sean B says Andrew Robinson reads off a teleprompter. He may. Most people are reading off some kind of script, whether it be a script on a screen or written down on paper. You guys think Shane Lee's voiceover work is him just freestyling? No, bro. I asked him. I was like, "Damn, bro, when you do those like videos and like there's like a voiceover section where you're like showing a lot of B-roll, like you speak so well." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm reading a script, like of course." And I was like, "Oh, you don't freestyle that?" And he was like, "No." And that's when I learned I'm one of the very few reviewers that are freestyling. And this is a really easy way to know, like watch my video. I'm sitting really far away from the camera in my head. I'm like looking all over the place as I talk. I'm like very animated. Then like most other people, they're like, boom, all the way like in the camera. They don't move and they're looking forward the whole time. 90% of the time, that person is reading off a script or a teleprompter. That is very normal, guys. And now that I've told you that, you're going to start noticing. A lot of guys, they sit in one location, they stare straight ahead, and their head does not move. It's because they're reading off of something. I would say Andrew, if he's reading a teleprompter, he does a damn good job at it because he looks natural. He's not locked forward. You know, he's got mannerisms still and stuff. I think he does a great job if that is what he's doing. But there's been so many other people that are so obviously just like locked in forward. Probably just like nerves, you know. Andrew's a pro though, dude. What else we got? Ham, any experience with the Bifrost by shit or any other stuff? No, bro. I've said it before. You might have not heard it, but shit doesn't really send review samples. They've got like a small group of reviewers they work with that they send review samples to, and that's it. They're not. Their friends list is full. They're not trying to work with any other reviewers. They don't need it. Their company does well enough. If I like send them an email and ask for like a review sample, I'm getting ignored most likely. They're just not interested in anything else. Good for watch. Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Some people are weird. Yeah, the dude really asked me that question, man. Daniel, now you know where the term swamp ass came from. That what? Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a big throwback to earlier in the live stream. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely know where swamp ass came from now. Yeah. Bill says your video reviews are perfect just the way they are. Trusted. It's great. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And I feel that way too for the most part. I always say, like, my video quality will always be as good as whatever the camera in the iPhone is. That's what I use to film. I don't even use a real camera, guys. Good for watching. He bought the MoFi SP10s by mistake. Have them sitting on the carpet, no stands yet. Prop them up on some books for now, bro. Throw some books under there. Start listening to them. See how they sound. The stands for that speaker aren't too tall. You could use probably 3 thick books. Will probably be pretty good. Now, maybe more than 3 books, but. Ancient Alien says, I actually think those 1528s are cheap for what you get. Yeah, I don't think you're going to find a speaker with that kind of output capability or headroom at that price by anyone else. Yeah. Mid-fi, do you prefer home or car audio more? They're different, bro. They're super different. I have both. I'm into both. Car audio is like, I take a different approach with car audio too. Like with car audio, I have that exaggerated bass, you know what I mean? Not like when I was in my 20s. But car audio for me is mostly going to be for that, like, just inaccurate wild bass. I obviously want some good clarity too, but most of the time in the car these days, the past 2-3 years, I'm listening to my audiobooks most of the time. I don't listen to a lot of music in the car, but also car audio is great for those lower quality recordings where the hi-fi system is just going to rip them apart, you know? I like both though. Tyler says, I logged into Cheap Audio Man Patreon Zoom meeting once, and there was a dude that posted some fan art video that included pictures, home, and address of Randy, and it was the scariest, creepiest shit. Yeah, bro, I'd be pretty upset about that. I'd imagine Randy wasn't too happy about that either. That is not cool to do. So it sounds like you're saying this dude made some like fan art for him and like was going to mail it to him. Hopefully it's just like a P.O. box Randy has or something and not his actual home address. That's not cool, man. That is not cool. But yeah, bro, some people are lunatics. Yeah, it's just like you said. Absolutely, you know. Good for watch says, and you might have to Google this guy, but Amp is an IEMA DO3. It has the Texas Instruments chip. Cheap Audio Man reviewed it once upon a time. Okay, so guys, just fair reminder for everyone that's joining in, Good for Watch asked me to roast his system, so we're going to be mean on purpose. So I don't need anyone to come at me saying Nemo's being a big meanie. He asked for this, okay? He asked for this. Some of you guys might not know this is like a thing girls do on, I think it's Reddit. There's like they'll post a pic and they'll be like, roast me. So let's look up this amp. Yeah, I mean, like the amp looks like it was made by a child in a sweatshop. So you kind of supporting like child labor, forced labor, possibly slave labor just by buying this amplifier. Good for watch. That makes you a pretty bad guy in my book. And I don't know how you sleep at night. I'm just really shocked that you'd support something like that. It doesn't have any heat sinks because it probably doesn't generate any power and it looks like a brick. It probably wouldn't even be a good paperweight. Let's see what else you got here. Pose acoustics, counsel for subwoofer size. That's it. All you posted was your amp. So yeah, I roasted your amp. There you go. Made by slave labor. You're a bad person for owning it. Come on, man. You got to post the whole system if you want me to roast it. How much are the Linton stands? Because I might have another stand option for you, bro. Let me look. Good price, good price. If that's for the pair, that's a really good price. Those stands look really good too. Each, $249 each, so about $500. They still do look really good. They look really good, yeah. That's a good option, I'd say. Check out Skyline. Skyline has a dedicated stand as well, I believe. Marcus says, your videos are good because of the authenticity, though not high quality. They're certainly not low quality. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what's funny? Despite my budget looking videos, you would not believe the amount of people that have called me a shill, leaving comments saying like, you were obviously paid to give this product a good review, this and that. And I'm like, what? Like what part of my like budget ass content makes you think anybody would pay me to review a product? First of all, a hi-fi channel with as few subscribers as I've historically had, if you ask for money, you're getting laughed at. You ask to keep the product, you're getting laughed at. You need to be approaching 100K plus to even bring like nickels and dimes into the conversation. But I guess haters are going to hate. You guys don't see those comments because I usually just block those people right away. They're toxic, you know? That's the system. MoFi source point 10 is connected to that amp. So you got a child slave labor amp and you got the ugliest speaker in the world and you don't have stands. It's sitting on the floor. Yeah, you don't respect yourself. You know, that's what it seems like. So I would suggest that you respect yourself more and get those speakers up on something, man. Fletcher says, unwelcome visitors have a problem in this country, and it relates to the Second Amendment, best behave. Yeah, I didn't want to get into that, you know what I mean? Or YouTube stopped recommending this video to people. But yeah, like I said, it wouldn't be good. You know what I'm saying? Like I stay ready, you know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely do, so. Good for watching saying I'm not an audiophile like you, bro. Bro, you asked me to roast the system. I roasted it. You asked for this. You asked me to be mean. If you asked me to lie to you and compliment it, I'll do that too. I was like, oh man, the MoFi Source Point 10s is the most beautiful speaker in the world with the, you know, anti-diffraction cuts in that front baffle, you know, beautiful wood finish. And yeah, I could go either way, bro. I can go either way. All right, guys, it looks like it's wrapping up. So we're at an hour and 20, what is that? 127 minutes. I don't know what that is in hours. That's a lot. If you got a burning desire, ask, or we're going to wrap up the stream in like 15 seconds. I don't see any burning desire. Tyler, yeah, we don't dial 911. We dial 1911. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Hey, thank you for tuning in, everyone. I don't know if this is the last stream for the year. It might be. You got a Sir Vega LA 165 video coming up at the end next week. Any good Black Friday deals you picked up? Nah, bro, I kind of have everything I need. You know what I mean? So like there was nothing I bought for myself. Oh, actually, no, I did buy the GIK acoustic tri-traps. I bought 4 of them. But it was only 5% off. Like it's not really a big deal. Oops, the discount, but. All right, guys. Yeah, next video is Sir Vega LA 165 that I'll post next week. And then the video after that will be best of 2024. And then there'll probably be no content the last 2 weeks of the year. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys.